it's just madness that we're even talking about this being a competitive fight. That's just the truth of it. It really is. Anthony Joshua, who, let's be honest, lacked a lot of confidence, but he's gained it back.
BC silver belt champion, for WBO international champion. From London, United Kingdom, the reigning and defending.
Draw that left hook out with a little cell downstairs.
You wonder if that little left hook, though, that got AJ there towards the end of the round may have affected him. He certainly doesn't look like the...
It's what sets them apart. He's also 11 years older at 36 than Daniel Dubois. And it's Usyk's 10th world title fight.
Anthony Joshua has done it again. The former world champion has silenced the doubters with a stunning victory over the young powerhouse Daniel Dubois. In a battle that was as brutal as it was thrilling, Joshua's experience and skill proved too much for the rising star, securing him a crucial win and reigniting his path to heavyweight glory. But how did Joshua manage to overcome the raw power of Dubois? And what does this win mean for the future of the heavyweight division? Let's dive into the expert predictions, fight preview, and what comes next for both fighters. The heavyweight division in boxing has always been a spectacle, and the upcoming fight between Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois is one of the most anticipated matchups in recent memory. Scheduled for Saturday at Wembley Arena in London, this fight is more than just a battle for the IBF heavyweight title. It's a clash of two generations, two styles, and two men with everything to prove. On one side, you have Anthony Joshua, a former two-time world champion with a legacy to maintain, and on the other, Daniel Dubois, a young, hungry contender looking to stake his claim among boxing's elite. This fight isn't just about belts, it's about pride, the future of the heavyweight division, and the opportunity to face the winner of the Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk rematch, set to take place in December. All eyes are on this fight, and for good reason. Anthony Joshua has already cemented his name in the history books as one of the most dominant heavyweights of his era. His journey to the top was swift, defeating the likes of Vladimir Klitschko, Joseph Parker, and Alexander Povetkin. But his career has also seen its fair share of turbulence. After losing his belts to Andy Ruiz Jr. in a shocking upset in 2019, Joshua showed his resilience by reclaiming them just 6 months later in a rematch. However, his back-to-back losses to Oleksandr Usyk in 2021 and 2022 left many wondering if the former Olympic gold medalist was still the same fighter. The Joshua that once bulldozed through the heavyweight division seemed more hesitant, more cautious. Despite his victories over Robert Helenius and Jermaine Franklin in recent bouts, questions remain about whether Joshua can regain the form that made him a global superstar. In contrast, Daniel Dubois represents the new wave of British heavyweights. At 25 years old, he is seen as the future of the division. Dubois has the kind of raw power that can end a fight in an instant, evidenced by his impressive knockout record. However, his rise to the top hasn't been without challenges. His loss to Joe Joyce in 2020, where he suffered a broken orbital bone, exposed some weaknesses in his game, but Dubois has bounced back with a string of wins, showing that he has learned from that defeat. Now, with an IBF title in hand, Dubois is ready for the biggest fight of his career, a showdown with Anthony Joshua. The stakes couldn't be higher for either fighter. For Joshua, a win would reaffirm his status as one of the top heavyweights in the world, and potentially set up a mega fight with the winner of Fury versus Usyk. For Dubois, a victory would be career-defining. Defeating a name as big as Anthony Joshua would propel him into the upper echelon of the heavyweight division and make him a household name overnight. But it's not just the potential matchups that make this fight so intriguing. It's the contrast in styles and the unknown surrounding both fighters. Joshua, at his best, is a technical boxer with knockout power. His ability to control the range with his jab, combined with his athleticism and finishing ability, makes him a difficult puzzle to solve. When he's confident, Joshua fights with a level of aggression and precision that few can match. However, in recent fights, we've seen a more cautious Joshua, one who is perhaps more concerned with not getting hit than landing his own shots. This version of Joshua can still win fights, but it's not the same dominant force that fans fell in love with during his rise to the top. The big question is, which Joshua will show up on Saturday? Will it be the aggressive, take-no-prisoners Joshua that we saw against Klitschko, or the more reserved, safety-first Joshua that we've seen in recent bouts? Dubois, on the other hand, is all about power. His knockout ratio is one of the highest in the division, and when he lands clean, it's often game over for his opponents. But Dubois is not just a brawler. He has shown flashes of skill and intelligence in the ring, particularly in his ability to set up his power shots. However, there are still questions about his ability to take a punch, especially after the Joyce fight. Dubois has been knocked down in fights before, and Joshua is a fighter who can exploit any weaknesses. If Dubois can close the distance and land his shots, he has a real chance of pulling off the upset. Experts are divided. Some, like Fraser Clark, believe Joshua's experience will be too much for Dubois to handle, especially on such a big stage. Clark points out that Joshua has been here before and knows how to perform under the bright lights, while Dubois is stepping into the unknown. Others, like Johnny Fisher, acknowledge Dubois' punching power and suggest that this fight could be closer than people think. Fisher, who has sparred with Dubois, describes him as the hardest puncher he's ever faced, but he still leans toward Joshua because of his experience. It's a fight that could go either way, depending on which version of Joshua shows up. If the confident, powerful Joshua we saw in his prime returns, Dubois will have a tough night. But if there are any lingering doubts or hesitation in Joshua's approach, Dubois has the tools to capitalize. Joshua and Dubois will need to bring their A game if they want to walk away with the victory. For Joshua, this fight is about legacy. A loss here would be devastating, potentially ending his chances of ever reclaiming the world titles. But a win, especially a dominant one, would put him right back in the mix for the biggest fights in the division. For Dubois, this is his moment to shine. He has the power, the youth, and the hunger to upset Joshua, but he will need to be smart and avoid getting drawn into a firefight too early. If he can stay composed and execute his game plan, there's a real chance that we could see a changing of the guard in the heavyweight division. Joshua has been working hard in training camp, and all reports suggest that he is in the best shape of his career. His new trainer, Derek James, has been working on improving Joshua's footwork and defense, areas that have been criticized in the past. Joshua has also been sparring with top-level fighters, including Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois himself, to prepare for the kind of power that Dubois will bring. Joshua knows that this is a must-win fight, and he is leaving no stone unturned in his preparation. Dubois, meanwhile, has been training under the watchful eye of Shane McGuigan, one of the top trainers in the sport. McGuigan has been working on improving Dubois' defense and head movement, areas that were exposed in the Joyce fight. Dubois has also been sparring with some of the top heavyweights in the country, including Derek Chisora and Joe Joyce, to prepare for the kind of experience and skill that Joshua will bring to the ring. Dubois knows that this is the biggest fight of his career, and he is determined to make the most of the opportunity. Both men have the tools to win this fight, but it will come down to who can execute their game plan better on the night. Joshua will look to use his jab and control the distance, while Dubois will be looking to close the gap and land his big shots. It's a classic matchup of boxer versus puncher, and it has all the ingredients to be a thrilling contest. The atmosphere at Wembley Arena will be electric, with thousands of fans cheering on their respective fighters. This is the kind of fight that boxing fans live for. Two top-level heavyweights, both with something to prove, going head-to-head in one of the biggest arenas in the world. The winner of this fight will not only walk away with the IBF heavyweight title, but they will also likely secure a shot at the winner of the Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk rematch, which takes place later this year. This adds an extra layer of intrigue to the fight, as both Joshua and Dubois will be eager to put on a statement performance and position themselves for a shot at the undisputed heavyweight championship. The heavyweight division is stacked with talent right now, and a win here would put either man right in the mix for the biggest fights in the sport. As fight night approaches, the tension is palpable. Both Joshua and Dubois have been respectful in the build-up, but there is an underlying sense of rivalry between the two. Joshua, as the established star, is the favorite going into the fight, but Dubois is seen as the future of the division, and many believe he has what it takes to pull off the upset. This fight has all the makings of a classic, and it will be fascinating to see how it plays out. Will Joshua prove that he is still one of the best heavyweights in the world, or will Dubois announce himself as the new king of the division? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure: this is a fight that no boxing fan will want to miss.